TV.
And a very good morning to you. Thanks for spending part of your Sunday morning with us. Eleanor Roosevelt said, "The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams." This summer in the Pittsburgh Public Schools, teachers and students are part of the Summer Dreamers Academy at Pittsburgh King K-8 are learning how to pursue their dreams. One man who has worked hard during the past year to help encourage those dreams is Dr. Anthony Hamlet, Superintendent of the Pittsburgh Public Schools. This week, Dr. Hamlet marked his first anniversary as superintendent by spending some time with the summer learners who are attending the Dreamers Academy. He joins us this morning on the Sunday Business page to talk about his strategic plan for the school district. Dr. Hamlet, welcome back to the show. It's great to have you here.
Thank you for having me back. I appreciate it.
So, Anthony, let's face it. We're 1 year anniversary, July 1st.
Yes.
It started off a little rocky, but things seem to be a little smoother now. How have you found your first year in Pittsburgh?
My first year has been extremely rewarding. I'm excited about the climate. I'm excited about the enthusiasm of the PPS employees, of the community as well, and all the stakeholders that are excited about the great things that are beginning to happen with Pittsburgh Public Schools.
Let me ask you first, just generically, what surprised you most about Pittsburgh?
You know what surprised me most is the diversity. Diversity in different areas that you go to. I live downtown right now, but so I'm in the middle. But as you go to the different areas and neighborhoods, very diverse, great people, friendly people, but also excellent food.
Excellent food.
Yes.
Oh,
yes.
You've noticed that.
I have.
You know, I think you're right about the diversity in the sense that we are a community made up of a variety of races and ethnic backgrounds.
Absolutely.
And the neighborhoods traditionally have, you sort of identify an Irish neighborhood or a Polish neighborhood or an African-American neighborhood. People have that way of looking at it. Is that important to understand as superintendent?
It really is. I mean, we have to understand the diversity, but also the diverse backgrounds, the ethnicities, but also begin to bring that into the education. So, as we say, make education rigorous, relevant, and develop those relationships as we bring in the ethnic backgrounds and celebrate that in the classroom and make sure that we're imparting that within our students and also uplifting their ethnicities and bringing that and making it relevant for their education.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. I mean, I think this is an important part of Pittsburgh.
Absolutely.
What have you found? I asked you what you found, what surprised you the most, and you said the diversity of this community. Would you say that we are more racist than other communities or less racist? And I mean racism from both blacks and whites, because everybody has some racism.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that. I would say that. I've been here a year now, and I've experienced from the community members and the stakeholders nothing but openness, wanting to support the efforts to support our children. So I haven't experienced that. Again, not being naive, I'm sure some of us there, but my interactions with everybody has been positive, especially when we're talking about children and the support we need for our children and our community as well.
Right. I think when you came in here, everybody has had high expectations. What do you consider your most important accomplishment during this first year?
I would say number one, we've created an environmental scan. We've had the Council of Great City Schools come in, and they did an environmental scan in 5 specific areas, taking a deep dive to really look at our district to find out where we are. If we truly want to change and transform ourselves to one of the best districts in the nation, we have to understand where we are in the context, but also create a roadmap for continuous improvement and change to support our children's growth academically.
Where are we in public school enrollment right now?
Right now, we're at about 24,900 students, roughly around that.
Is that better or worse than we were 5 years ago?
It's down from 5 years ago, but it's been baseline for about 3 years now. So we've been about 25,000, 2,800 for the last 3 years. So we've been stagnant.
One of the figures that I noticed in just doing a little research for this program was the charter schools and the increase in the number of students going to charter schools, which is up by over 1,000 students in the last 5 years, from something like 2,300 to 3,300. Parents are choosing to send their kids to charter schools. And as you know, some of them, like the Urban League School, they're 100% African American. These aren't white parents necessarily. These are a lot of African American parents sending their kids to a school outside the public school system. What can you do about that?
Well, we created a strategic plan to improve ourselves. Since I've hit the ground a year ago, I truly believe, and I've been talking about this, I've been asked questions about what are you going to do with all the buildings, the school buildings that you need to sell? I say, honestly, my vision is we're going to use some of those buildings for when our students come back from those charter schools. That's where they're going to go. So that's my vision, and I focus right now on those parents or children to leave, but also what are our deficits in Pittsburgh public schools? Because I truly believe once we align ourselves, begin to create great things and expect great things from our students, from our teachers, and from our employees, those students will begin to come back. So as we align ourselves with one of continuous improvement, we will have those students come back to Pittsburgh public schools.
I want to delve into that a little bit later in our second segment when I want to talk about the future and what you're working on. So I'm just kind of creating, you know, what's happening right now in the Pittsburgh public school systems. And it just seems to me that the charter schools, do they pose a threat, or really do they encourage the public schools to do better?
I think they encourage the public schools to do better, because obviously parents are leaving because of some reason. We want to make sure that we find out what those reasons are, but also let parents understand and know that we have a service, that there's no charter school entity that can compare with the services, the resources, the support, the academic curricula that we have at Pittsburgh Public Schools. So there's something else that's driving them to go to charter schools. We want to find that out and make sure they understand they can come back to Pittsburgh Public Schools and have a quality education. Do
you think security is one of the things that causes parents to send their kids to a charter school, that they feel their kids are more secure there? Public safety?
I think they might feel that they have smaller class size. You know, I think when you compare, security is similar or the same when it comes to charter schools and public schools. And let's say that charter schools are public schools as well.
Yes,
but under a small specific entity. So, but I would say the security is the same.
Yeah. Let me ask you this question: what about the issue of what some have called white flight from our public school systems? Pittsburgh is 25% African American, and yet our public schools are 54% African American, which means that there are at least some white parents who have chosen to leave the public school.
Right.
And sometimes they're sending them to Catholic schools, parochial schools, religious schools, private schools. Does that pose a threat to our school system? Are there things that we need to do there?
I would say historically, we still have 70 to 75% of the market of the students in the city of Pittsburgh coming to Pittsburgh public schools. So the narrative is this: making sure that understanding, as we did our environmental scan, the birth rate has gone down in the city.
Sure has.
So that will contribute to less students in Pittsburgh public schools. But also looking at the percentage of kids that are going to parochial and private schools, it's been the same.
Right.
About 25 to 30%, it's been the same.
So that hasn't changed much.
That hasn't changed much. But also understanding, you know, ask the question about the decline of the enrollment. The birth rate has gone down in Pittsburgh public schools, right? About 10 years ago, the birth rate in the city was about 5,500. Now, as of a couple of years ago, it's about 2,600 births.
Oh, that's a significant decline.
It's gone down. Right. So the narrative is making sure we understand all the data points that are going into the decline of enrollment.
You know, I want to pursue this with you when we come back after the break. I do think that the school systems are one of the reasons why people move to a city, move to a suburb.
Absolutely.
They care very much about the quality of education that their students get. And I'd like to talk to you further, Dr. Hamlet, about what you're doing to make sure that the Pittsburgh public schools are an attractive beacon to all of us wherever we happen to live. So stick with us, folks. We'll be back with the Superintendent of Pittsburgh Public Schools, Dr. Anthony Hamlet, in just a few moments. Stick